All right, let's move on to the 1 o'clock games. Bebsy, we're going to start with Panthers, Falcons. What I've done with Carolina makes me so angry. I told you on the show that they have playmakers, and losing McCaffrey is going to give us value, and yet I don't move on them.
We literally had opposing opinions of McCaffrey, but I said the opposite of the opinion, my own opinion. I didn't bet on them, but yeah, you're not even listening to your own advice.
It's angry. It makes me so. But I'm not just going to. And I did this last week. That was the problem last week. I was like, okay, don't get upset that you missed that win against the Chargers that you wanted to bet. Don't get upset and force yourself playing them there. And I was hesitant because the Cardinals were coming off a bad loss, and I was hesitant. So I don't mind the second day off. The first day off still upsets me. The Falcons open up at -3, and the books, it's hard to understand what the books are doing. And I had to even double check. Are they really doing this? And they are.
They are, and that's why this has got to be my first play of the week. I don't understand how, given the way Atlanta has played and the leads they've given up and how deflated and flat and bad they looked against a Green Bay team that really put out their worst effort of the season so far, they still look dominated in that game. Carolina's surging. They're behind their rookie head coach. They're rallying with the absence of McCaffrey. They're playing good football. So I don't understand how this line opened up this way.
But it's not just that, Bebsy. It's the fact that some books are still hanging it that way. So Bet365 has moved to 2, but over here too. Sorry, let me just show what some of these offshore indicators are doing, because there's still 3.5s out here.
I also want to just make a quick mention here. Steel Curtain said in the chat, Panthers are a weird team to read. I could not agree more, and it isn't just this year. I feel like the Panthers for 4 years in a row have been this team that wins games they shouldn't, loses games they shouldn't. They have been so frustrating to bet on for years now. Nothing's changed. I don't know, something in the water in Carolina, I guess. I don't know, but God, are they frustrating. And now that I'm on them this week, this is where they blow it.
Another thing that's just happened is some of these books have taken it off the board, which is always going to pique interest. And so some of these leading indicator offshores have taken it off the board. Let's talk about the licensed American books. They're all at, wow, even this. Look, Bet Rivers just moved it to 1.5. Wow. Fox Bet still hanging at 3. So you can still get +3, heavily juiced to -118 at Fox Bet. The rest of the books are hanging 2.5. Very interesting. So many moving parts. Let's break it down. Panthers have won 2 straight. Big 31-21 win at home over the Cardinals. Teddy Bridgewater, 26 for 37, 267 yards, 2 scores. Ran 6 times for 32 yards and 1 TD. Panthers put up 168 yards rushing without McCaffrey. Mike Davis finishes with 111 yards from scrimmage. Reggie Bonifon, 53 yards rushing and caught a TD pass. Robbie Anderson, 99 yards receiving. It's this Panthers O-line is just banged up. We have Russell Okung and Dennis Daly, both questionable. Okung has missed 2 straight games. Eli Apple left the Cardinals game due to a hamstring injury. He'd missed the first 3 games of the year with the hamstring injury. So I don't expect him in the lineup. But the big point we made on Sunday was Kawan Short's going to be back. You're going to put him beside the 7th overall draft pick. And Derek Brown had a very bad first 2 games. And we saw that in play. This Cardinals team that's capable of running the ball weren't able to against that front 7. Falcons coming off an ugly 30-16 loss at Green Bay on Monday. Bebsy, interesting. I had, even some of our friends asked me about this game, and I was like, look, the Sharps are on the Falcons. Bebsy's on the Packers. Do with that what you will. Ryan went
saying I'm not a Sharp? Is that what's going on?
No, the Sharps were clearly on the Falcons. That's why the point total went down to 5. It went down to +5.5 for the Falcons.
in a way, it felt like a possible letdown spot, but Green Bay has looked so good. And even with the injuries, even with Lazard out, and even with why am I drawing a blank? One of the best receivers in the league, Devontae Adams. Even with Devontae Adams out, they still play great. And I said this before, Rodgers is on a warpath. He's got his mojo going. He looks great. It just felt like an easy play. I got a little nervous in the second half, and it worked out. But I could understand why people were on the Falcons. But man, they've lost 6 straight games when they've been leading by 10 or more points. That's the most in NFL history that anybody's done. They just look defeated. They look like they've already given up on the season. They look like they've given up on the coach, much like the Texans. Although, I don't think they hate Dan Quinn like I believe the Texans hate Bill O'Brien. But it just looks like they're not playing for their coach. And it's him or Gase next. It seems like New York doesn't care to throw Gase away yet, but Dan Quinn was on the hot seat last year in a surprise move. They kept him. I liked the move. Now I'm looking like I'm wrong on that. I don't think Gase or Quinn last much longer.
Well, I'm not in full agreement because there's guys like Olamide that are Olamide Zacchaeus that are stepping up huge. Your Matt Ryan's missing, so Julio Jones bangs out, and it doesn't matter. Olamide's had 2 big games in a row. There's certain guys on this team that are getting opportunities with Matty Ice back there. So I think there's going to be value on the Falcons moving forward.
There could be, and they started out slow last year. They started out terrible last year and became one of the more dangerous teams to play down the stretch. I just don't know if I'm feeling the same thing right now from these guys.
He says you love these bum fights. Look, I don't think the Panthers are bums. And yes.
I'm starting to not think the Panthers are bums. I did at the start of the year. I had them looking at a top 5 pick going into next season, but I was dead wrong about that.
Hayden Hurst, 4 catches for 51 yards. Julio Jones, hamstring injury, misses the second half. Let's talk about the problem here and whether or not Teddy Bridgewater can take advantage of it. And that's this Falcons secondary badly beat up. Packers took advantage. 3 touchdown drives in their first 4 possessions in the first half. So you got DeMonte Casey torn Achilles during the game. So he's done for the year. Jalen Hawkins left Monday's game with a head injury. He's questionable this week. Ricardo Allen has missed 2 straight games. Cam O'Neill missed the Packers game. Both are questionable. A.J. Terrell on COVID-19 reserve. And then Tack McKinley missed the Packers game. I know he's their defensive end. So the Panthers are going to be able to put up points. And I feel like, and I don't want to compare Matt Ryan and Aaron Rodgers, but Matt Ryan can move the ball through the air without Julio and without his best receivers. So let's just see what this totals at one more time here. This total opened up at 54.5. The leading indicator books are hammering it down, but it's still at 53.5 at most of the books. There's 51s out there, which I will double check. What do you think of this total?
To be honest, I kind of lean towards the over in this. I'm a bit surprised it's coming down because we know both of these offense can put up points. And the big question mark for both of these teams is a defense. So to me, the over is very much in play. But if it's going to keep dropping, you almost want to sit back and watch it.
Yeah, I agree. We've had you cut in and out there. I'm going to pull you out just for a second, see if I can get your clarity for the internet just very quickly. I'll pull you out. See if I can get you back in looking sharp. All right, let's keep rolling. No move on Panthers Falcons at this point. Any move for you?
Yeah, I think I'm on the Panthers here. Week 1, there's no way if I would have looked forward to this game I'd be thinking this way, but I think Carolina rolls in this, especially being the dog. I don't care if they got to travel to the Dome in Atlanta.
Dennis Garcia says, I hate divisional overs, but can't take the under. Robert Allen says Matt Rule could be coach of the year. Mr. Fun Monk says, remember the days when some guys had a man crush on Matt Ryan? He says, of course I did too. Overtime looking at longest pass. Birdie says week 5 now, overs had hit at a monster clip. And the Sharps are blindly betting unders. And I agree with that. There's my man Nilo in the house. All right, we're going to lock in the Panthers +3 at -118. That is the only 3 on the board and comes courtesy of our friends at Fox Bet. All righty. Jin Rummy giving us our fair look says Falcons fair at -6, 6.5. Wow. And 54.5 without situational factors. Oh, Jin, I love having you in the chat giving us your models fair lines. I love that. Wow. Okay. There you go. Panthers, Falcons.